Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a close look at a really interesting set of sources, all from one website, Crystals by Rob.
Right.
And you land there, and first glance, it looks like a pretty standard online crystal shop.
Yeah, lots of pictures, products.
But then you start clicking around, and it just blossoms into something else entirely. It's this huge, really specialized educational platform.
That's exactly it. And that's our mission today, really to kind of synthesize what feels like a hidden curriculum they've built.
A hidden curriculum. I like that.
Yeah, because they even say it themselves, right? Their purpose isn't just selling things. They call the site a sanctuary, a community, and an educational platform.
Yeah.
And the sheer amount of structured information, the blog categories, the courses, it suggests they see themselves as, defining a field through teaching.
And there's a very clear philosophy driving all of this teaching, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It's right there at the core. This deep belief that crystals aren't just pretty rocks, but are a powerful tool for self-discovery, healing, and connection to the universal energies.
Right.
And holding that belief lets them move way beyond just retail. It becomes about offering this comprehensive training for, transformation.
Okay, so let's unpack that. If we think about the level of expertise they're aiming for, maybe we should look at the high-end services first. Like, if this were a university, what are the graduate level programs?
That's a great way to frame it. And the range of energy healing sessions they offer is pretty astounding. It shows the complexity they're operating in.
Like what specifically?
Well, you have things that might sound a bit familiar, though still niche, like an angel tuning fork sound healing session or crystal Reiki.
Okay.
But then the language gets really, really specific, almost like proprietary techniques.
Give me an example.
Okay, how about this? Arcturian Reiki attunement, 420D frequency certification.
Wow.
Or Christic Arcturian chakra unification attunement and entity removal.
Okay, I have to jump in there. 420D frequency certification. I mean, is that level of hyper specificity actually needed for healing? Or is it maybe functioning as specialized jargon, to create a sense of exclusivity?
That's a really sharp question, and I think it probably does both things. First, it definitely signals, hey, we do stuff that's way beyond your standard Reiki class. It implies a deep dive into very particular, maybe even channeled modalities.
Right.
And second, yes, it absolutely builds a unique brand of knowledge.
Right.
It tells potential students or clients, we operate at a level of complexity few others do. We speak a language you could only learn here.
So the service menu itself is almost like proof of their advanced curriculum?
Exactly. It sets the bar high. And they also list things like aura balancing, crystal grid distant healing, aromatherapy, color therapy, pendulum reading.
It's a whole ecosystem of energy work.
Precisely. Covering all these different layers, from the really esoteric, like that Christic attunement, down to things maybe more people have heard of, like color therapy.
So if those are the PhD programs, let's say, where does the complete beginner start? The undergrad level. They must have a clearer path in, right?
They do, absolutely. There's a formal course, Crystal Healing Mastery, a step-by-step beginner's course for crystal workers.
Okay, so a clear entry point.
Yeah, it immediately sets up that structured learning idea. You don't have to just randomly click through 16 blog categories hoping to piece it together.
And importantly, they also seem to provide some foundational, prerequisite knowledge outside that main course, these informational pages.
Yes, these are crucial. Think of them as the 101 texts. They cover things like hand mudras.
Sure.
Specific hand gestures or positions, kind of like yoga for your hands, believed to help channel energy or achieve certain states for healing.
Got it.
They also cover Reiki basics, space clearing techniques.
And I saw one on creating your book of shadows. That term sounds significant. For a beginner, what does that mean in this context? Is it just a diary?
It's more than just a diary, though it involves writing. The term Book of Shadows has historical roots in Wicca and witchcraft. Here, it seems positioned as teaching the learner how to systematically document their journey with crystals, their rituals, intentions, findings, correspondences.
So it's about structured record keeping for their practice.
Exactly. It reinforces this idea that it's an applied curriculum, something you do, not just read about. These pages, Mudras, Reiki, Book of Shadows, they lay the groundwork for getting into the really detailed blog content.
Okay, let's get into those blogs then. 16 categories.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is how these categories basically systematize all this niche knowledge. They create these logical buckets for learning, covering everything from hard science to practical magic.
Right, so maybe we can group them for the listener. Let's start with what feels like the core academic knowledge, the technical and historical side.
Good idea. That definitely starts with the geological properties of crystals.
Ah, the science bit.
Exactly. Where the metaphysical meets, actual material science.
Yeah.
They ground the practice by explaining how crystals are formed, their structure, their composition.
Which seems pretty necessary context for the other core categories here, like the history of crystals, understanding their use through time.
Uh-huh.
And then the big one, the metaphysical healing properties of stones. That looks like an enormous reference list.
It is. It's the core library, really. The
Yeah.
what's database for any crystal worker. And they also have top stones lists for different specific purposes, too.
Okay, so that's the foundation. Then where does the curriculum go next?
Well, from the what and why, it moves into the how, specifically around energy systems and geometry.
Mhm.
This is where you start applying the knowledge.
This is where we see the blog on properties of the shapes of crystals, right? Which sounds subtle, but it seems important here. The shape isn't just aesthetics.
Not at all. It dictates function, according to their teachings. They explain, for example, that spheres have unique properties, maybe for scrying or creating an even energy field, whereas towers, which are basically points, are seen as tools for directing energy, for projection.
So the learning outcome is practical.
Hmm.
You need to choose the right shape for your goal, not just the right type of stone.
Exactly. You can't just grab any pretty rock. The form matters.
And you can see how this connects directly back to the shop, right? Because they organize products into collections like actinolite, agate, geodes, selenite. The lesson explains why you might specifically need a selenite wand, which is a tower shape, versus maybe an agate slice.
Precisely. The education justifies the specific product forms.
Okay, what else falls under the systems theme?
Well, the other half is understanding the energy systems the crystals interact with. So they have deep dives into chakras, into auras, including the meaning of different aura colors,
Right.
and also into related modalities like Reiki again and sound healing.
Yeah.
You need to understand the energy body itself.
Okay, so you start with the facts, the geology, the history.
Yeah.
Then you learn about the energy systems, the shapes, and then comes the practical application, the how-to.
Yes. This is where it gets really hands-on. This is the ritual practice part of the curriculum.
What does that include?
Well, there are articles on manifestation techniques using crystals, clear instructions on creating intention bowls, and then just general rituals you can perform. These blogs translate all that theory into actual steps.
I noticed a big section dedicated specifically to crystal witchcraft. How does that differ from the general rituals? Is it more advanced?
It seems to be, yeah.
Yeah.
The general rituals blogs might cover things like, say, cleansing crystals under the moon or setting basic intentions.
Ah.
Crystal witchcraft appears to go deeper into structured spell work, more complex crystal grids, maybe using specific correspondences like planetary alignments or elements alongside the crystals.
So it caters to a more committed, maybe more specialized student.
Definitely looks that way. It shows the curriculum has depth, reaching beyond just casual interest into dedicated advanced practice.
And even the practical stuff needs upkeep, right? They cover crystal programming and cleansing.
Essential knowledge, you have to maintain your tools, basically.
Yeah.
Keep them energetically clear and focused.
Makes sense.
And they even branch out into related connections, like crystals and angels, exploring how to integrate angelic energies. And even practical crafting, like how to make your own incense, with recipes.
Wow, okay, so they're really teaching people to become self-sufficient practitioners within this specific worldview.
That seems to be the goal. Build the knowledge, provide the tools, teach the practice.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Connect this massive educational effort to the business itself. Why build such a detailed curriculum?
Well, if you look at the site structure, particularly the checkout and login options, it becomes clear this supports a truly global ambition.
Global in what sense? Just shipping worldwide?
More than that, the localization effort is intense. I mean, yes, they cover US dollars, euros, pounds, sterling, the usual suspects.
Right.
But they have login and currency support for literally everywhere. We're talking Afghani, AFN, Cambodian Riel, KHR, French Polynesian Franc, XPF,
Yeah.
FR.
Wow, that's incredible detail. Why go to that length for what seems like a niche market?
Because the knowledge itself is so niche. Think about that Arcturian Reiki Attunement 420D certification.
Yeah.
How many people in your local town are actively searching for that specific modality? Probably not many.
Likely zero, yeah.
Exactly. So to make a business viable based on teaching such hyper-specific proprietary knowledge, you need a global audience. You have to cast a massive net to find enough students scattered across the world who resonate with that particular frequency, literally and figuratively.
So the global reach isn't just expansion, it's fundamental to the business model because the specialization demands it.
I think so. The global market is a necessity for this kind of hyper-specific curriculum to survive and thrive.
So for you, the listener tuning in from anywhere, that level of localization isn't just convenient, it's a sign they see you as a potential student in their, well, unique global crystal university.
And they're pushing this education out through every channel possible to find that audience. We saw they have their own podcasts. They're active on Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, YouTube.
Using all the modern distribution networks?
To reach that dispersed niche audience interested in this very specific educational content.
Okay, so let's try to summarize this deep dive. What we found inside Crystals by Rob is this surprisingly huge, structured curriculum.
Yeah, really vast.
You can genuinely start with the basics, like the actual geological properties of crystals. You can learn foundational practices like creating a book of shadows.
Uh-huh.
And you can progress all the way up to these incredibly niche, maybe even proprietary specializations like angelic crystal energy attunements or those Arcturian frequency things.
So what does it all add up to? I mean, it seems the educational content is the real engine here.
How so?
It creates this kind of self-sustaining loop, right? The audience comes for the knowledge. They read the blogs, learn why a sphere might be better than a tower for their goal, or why selenite needs cleansing in a specific way. And once they have that knowledge, they naturally start seeking the tools, the specific spheres, towers, or selenite pieces mentioned in the lessons available in the shop's collections. Or they seek the advanced expertise, the specialized energy healing sessions that the curriculum positions as high-level practice.
Ah, so the education drives the demand for both the products and the specialized services.
Exactly. The knowledge fuels the practice, and the practice fuels the market for their very specific offerings.
That really does flip the perspective on what looks like a simple online store, which leaves a fascinating thought for you, the listener, to mull over.
Yeah.
When you encounter specialized content online, especially around niche interests, how often is there actually a vast, interconnected educational curriculum hiding just beneath the surface, like we found here? What other businesses might be quietly defining their entire industry by building this kind of extensive, specific educational engine, essentially creating a global university around their own unique expertise?